in welcoming our panelists to the stage. Can we have a round of applause for Mr. Raj Cherubal, Executive Director, Chennai Smart City Limited. Raj is driving inclusive and technology-led urban transformation. Welcome, Raj. Next, we'd like to welcome on stage Mr. Mohammed Ali, President, CREDAI, Chennai. Mohammed represents the voice of Chennai's real estate and infrastructure development community, and we're so glad to have him on this panel. Next, I'd like to welcome Ms. Ashwati Dilip, Managing Director, ITDP India, a strong advocate for sustainable and people-first urban mobility. Ashwati champions inclusive transport systems. Welcome. I'd also like to invite Mr. Arun Krishnamurthy, founder, Environmentalist Foundation of India. Widely known for grassroots ecological restoration, Arun has revived water bodies across India. Welcome, Arun. And a round of applause for our moderator, Prince Frederick, Civic Affairs Editor and Associate Editor at The Hindu. Prince Frederick brings sharp civic and governance insight to all of his discussions, and hopefully this one as well. Should be an interesting talk. So, Prince Frederick, over to you.
Hello. Yep. So, sitting here, I have a sense of deja vu. I need to take you all back in time, say by 2 months to an event very similar. It was also about Chennai, green and inclusive Chennai, and there, when I was on a discussion, I was moderating a discussion where there were 3 panelists, and the time given to me was 45 minutes. And so the math was not great at all, because 3 brilliant minds, and I had to get the best out of them in 45 minutes, 15 minutes each. And here, until a while ago, I thought, I had to interview 5 panelists and 50 minutes. And GCC's DZ Works couldn't make it, so it is 4 and 50, no better. And so, I thought I'll get around this, by just turning this into a T20 match. So the point is actually, I just got one root question, and I'll tweak the question for each of them. And the root question is this, and this is a topic given to me, a city that works for everyone. So this is a question. So how do you smarten up Chennai so that it works for everyone? How do you make it smart so that it delivers for everyone? So I just, and when you bring up the word smart, and you automatically think of Raj Cherubal, because he's been doing a lot of smart things in Chennai for a long time, and I'm sure for many more years to come, he'll do all the great work. And Raj Cherubal, by the way, is the Executive Director of Chennai, Smart Chennai City Limited. And Raj, I just want you to deconstruct the word smart, because it could mean, in fact, I remember in one of the videos you yourself said before you took up this assignment and all that, and you were not very sure about what smart meant. Because generally you tend to associate smart with technology, but technology is just one pillar of what Smart Chennai, Smart City Chennai does. So there are 4 other pillars. I just want you to throw light on all of them.
Sure. So first of all, thank you. Thank you for starting Super Chennai, because I think city badly needs these kinds of forums to brand and bring people together, so that a lot of things can be done. All that doesn't have to be government driven. It can be CSR driven and so on. So I'll give you. Few years ago, if you had asked me, I'll start with an optimistic, pessimistic note. But now, today, believe it or not, Mr. Challa and team always makes fun of me saying I'm too optimistic. But last 20 years of lot of work, we have to be optimistic if we are among Indian cities. I'll tell you why. But before that, I'll answer your question. I think we should just set aside this word smart and this and that. Just forget all that. Quality of life. Okay, whether you're living in Europe or Kenya or India or wherever it is, you want to be able to walk on the road. I was in Japan a few days ago. You can walk till you die. You can walk forever, right? And I was telling somebody, wear a socks and walk. I suspect your socks won't be dirty on the road, right? It's so clean. How do we get there? That's all it is. So for that, if you have to use technology, so be it. And here's how I would put it, right? Hong Kong, Singapore and all had 80 years, 100 years to get where they are. They went through the traditional way of planning. They'll do concept, this, and they'll do something. Then something new will come. They'll say resilience, climate change, AI. They'll keep changing accordingly. Indian cities, we don't have the time, 80 years, 100 years to sit back and say, okay, we'll do traditional way, right? This is where technology is going to come handy because we have limited resource, limited focus, capacity, etc. So can we use data, AI, etc. to say, do this 20% so that 80% can have impact, right? Otherwise, we don't, it's like a typical, even in a company, say, companies face this problem. You have 1 rupee to spend, where do you spend that money? So there'll be pressures to spend in different places. This is where I think we are lucky because just like we did cell phone, I mean, when we were kids, we had rotary phones. Hardly anybody had phones. Today, pretty much everybody has a cell phone. We made a leapfrog, right? How do you leapfrog in terms of urban planning? So I'll quickly put this so that I think Ashwathi already knows this. See, Chennai, we have done a lot of critical pieces in bits and pieces, right? My experience is that in India, doing that first project is near impossible. Sir, panna mudiyadhu, sir. You simple, water body restoration, panna mudiyadhu, sir, because makkal serilla, ivaru serilla, avaru serilla. You want to do a pedestrian plaza, sir, adu Europe la pannuvaanga, you can't do it here. Anything, right? First project is near impossible. So most of the energy is spent convincing the system and building the capacity of the system to do one plaza. Believe it or not, today we are doing 5-6 plazas in Chennai. KNK was inaugurated. It's not perfect, okay? Believe it or not, in MC Road in North Chennai, which is an unbelievably commercial pace of Chennai, a plaza is being built. In another few months, that will have cobblestones, etc., etc. You take a picture, people will wonder which part of world it is, right? So we've done pieces. We, thanks to EFI, long ago we did one water body, right? Today, Chennai, believe it or not, we have already fixed 210 water bodies or 240 odd water bodies. It's a world record. And there, CREDAI and others pitched in. So my point is, if you have a pipeline, money can come from different direction. The pipeline is important. Similarly, we've done footpaths, we've done tree planting, sponge park, for example. There's so much sponge park happening in Chennai, it's unbelievable. So the next thing to answer your question, how does city work for everybody? The question is, can we take square areas and do all these different layers? You've done sponge? Do sponge, no. You can do multimodal integration. You can do, earlier what did we do? We do on plaza here, we'll do a multimodal integration here. There'll be no connection between the two. But we can do all these pieces in one place now. And I can proudly say that in India, I can't think of a single city which is capable of doing a square and layers of all these things in one place. I think other than Chennai, I doubt if any city can do. For example, if you go on Punamalli High Road, just look up at the traffic thing, no? There'll be a camera down there. You know what that's doing? The entire Punamalli is equivalent to a Singapore, for example, in a limited way, okay? Each junction is optimized. 5-10 years ago, this was like a fantasy. Today, your car is being tracked, the queue is being tracked in the junction, that's getting optimized. The entire corridor is getting optimized. Similarly, if you see in a bus stop, you'll see the next bus is coming sometime. You don't realize how much back-end software exists to make that one thing happen, right? My point is simple. We have valuable bits and pieces in Chennai which probably other cities don't have. Now the question is, how do we scale this from bits and pieces to an integrated, it could be square by square approach. But we are at a tipping point, in my opinion, where if in the next few years, I suspect many parts of Chennai will start showing completely different results. Simple example, I'll conclude with this, KNK. One complaint is you did KNK, there's no parking management, park of the road is not good. In the coming plans, what we are saying is that take a square area around KNK, put parking management on it, fix all the stormwater drains around it. If there are green areas, do sponge around it. So it doesn't have to be KNK focus. It's an entire area-based focus. By the way, KNK is a plaza. So we are probably the only city in the country right now who can pull these things off, and we are at a tipping point, in my opinion.
It was very insightful, and I want Ashwathi to go next. So if you noticed, Raj mentioned that Ashwathi is aware of certain things they do. Because in fact, I call them twins. What Raj does through a special purpose vehicle, she does through an NGO. And she's the lady who's been giving feet to pedestrians and also wheels to roads that are easy on earth, like cycle wheels. So I mean, while I just wanted to paint a broad picture of the vision she has for mobility for Chennai specifically when she's handling many cities. But I just want to hear from her about Chennai examples. Yeah,
Thank
go
you
ahead.
so much, Prince. Maybe just for the, for those of you not the audience who don't know me or the organization that I represent, I'm Ashwati Dilip. I lead ITDP in India, and there are our team members sitting right here in the audience. So it's not me giving wheels and steps. It's an entire team that is working with an amazing set of stakeholders, sometimes difficult, sometimes great. Stakeholders both in the government, but also, residential stakeholders. Sabina here was one of the champions who got the first street in the city pedestrianized, and which then got a whole set of streets redone. This was 10 years ago. So when I first started working at ITDP, I remember one of my team members saying, there is this socialite in Harrington Road who wants to meet you. And I was wondering, why are we meeting socialites? Aren't we meeting decision makers? But little did I know that residents have so much power in our city. And I feel like that's something that we should really tap on. But getting to the point, Prince, that you mentioned about how do we get a city that actually works for everyone? So a story to say, my younger son just turned 10. And for his birthday, his present that he wanted from us was independence. He said, I want to go to Nilgiris by myself, which is at the end of a highway road on which I live, where he wants to walk and be able to buy things that he feels that he needs. And he's like, you can give me a budget, I will walk there and get. Now, he introduced me as the one who actually is transforming streets in the city, but the street outside my house is not that one street. And the days that he chooses to go there by himself, because we do want to give him that audience, the independence, is the time when we're holding our hearts and wondering, okay, I hope he's going to be back home safely. So like Raj said, yes, Chennai has been doing great work. To be honest and fair, there have been times when we've done work very quickly. Then there are years when the work is pretty slow. And now is that phase, like Raj said, when the momentum is really picking up. Last year was the first year that Chennai had put up 200 crores for transforming street infrastructure. And it's not just a one-off thing. The budget just came in yesterday. This year, they've again invested another 250 crores building on that piece. They've said that they're going to be looking at various neighborhoods to make it safe for children. So safe routes to school is an initiative that is going to come into different neighborhoods. So now, although my son might not feel safe, our neighborhood may or may not be, but there are going to be neighborhoods that are going to be transformed where children will be able to walk safely. When we did some interviews with schools, one of the teachers from a corporation school said that she begs her children not to cycle to school. This is when the government actually gives free cycles. Again, things are changing. First 50 crores for a network of cycle tracks was again announced yesterday. We have new buses that's come up. Our city needs 7,000 buses. We have only about 3,000, and a lot of them are old as well. We had 500 buses coming in the last year, but there's a plan in place to really have the remaining 3,000 come up as well, with a way to be integrated with the metro, suburban rail, and the MRTS as well. Yesterday's budget also had parking to be done in 20 neighborhoods. So last year it was just one neighborhood. This year it's 20. So we've done a 20x. Again, it's not enough. Our city is massive. It's going to take consistent action across at least about 5 to a decade for us to see transformation at the scale that Raj was talking about. Now, where are the missing links? I can't just paint this beautiful picture and y'all would just be telling me, Ashti, right outside is a mess. The big gap is that these things, like when you look at London or when you talk about Singapore, London is being managed by Transport for London, one organization that manages all the transport in the city. Singapore is managed by Land Transport Authority, one organization that manages all kinds of transport in the city. What about Chennai? We have Greater Chennai Corporation that has roads. We have highways that have roads. We have traffic police that manages the traffic on those roads. We have MTC that runs buses. We have Metro Rail that runs metro. We have suburban railways, which I can go on. But let's just put it, out there that there are numerous departments who are running with their own visions, sometimes at loggerheads with Chennai's mobility plan. Last year, the city has come up with the mobility plan. So there is a plan that has been developed. Our future will depend on whether we can stay aligned to that plan by getting all these departments to work in cohesion, or whether we will continue to sort of, fight with one another and go at loggerheads. So I think that's what is, we need to come together to make sure we're able to create the city for all, where my 8-year-old and my parents who are 70-year-old can both use our public spaces without, feeling any sort of fear and with a whole lot of independence.
So can we expect a pedestrian plaza right outside your house? May I know where it is?
That's not happening, I don't think so.
By the way, where is it?
But outside your house, maybe.
No way.
No.
By the way, in fact, actually, when talking about intermodal, this connectivity, I'm really looking forward to this metro getting functional. I don't know how many years it's going to take. The station's going to be close to my place. I live on that easier link road and all that. Right now, I just travel 26 kilometers. My colleagues are here. Okay, 26 kilometers each way and all that. I have run that car into ground. So I'm really waiting for it because it's beautiful. Actually, the thing is, in an ideal world, you should be able to walk to work or cycle to work, where you do have employment right next to where you live. So, but we're not living in an ideal world. My office is somewhere in, it is in Mount Road. I live on easier link road. But then, see, look at this, and this might make it, look as if it were as close as, just walking across. Like I can just walk across and get board a metro once it becomes functional. So, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Once it becomes functional, I can just walk over and board the metro, and then I can just go to MRTS, and MRTS stops right outside our office at Chennai. So, I mean, I can see the power of, intermodal connectivity, that's great. And another thing is on this point of, just playing right outside, your home on the street and all that, and everyone's talking about slow living. And slow living essentially is about returning to the past. The things, kind of like all of us had, for next to nothing. These are all things, we didn't have to pay for. And now it's interesting that we're all moving towards that, Even technology is like taking us to that only. When Ashwati is talking about, no, I just want a place where my child can cycle, walk, and my parents can walk and all that. Pretty much that's what she's talking about. That's interesting, anyway. And so I just want to just go back to Raj. So I'll come to you after this, just one thing, before I forget. See, Raj, is a very optimistic person. I know that, from all these conversations he's had and all that, that it's out there, you can just watch all those like wonderful interviews he's done. So one thing he actually has, he hopes for the best for Chennai. So the thing is, maybe like we do tend to think, okay, Chennai, like, we are laggards, like, we are way behind, when it comes to, cities and all that. But he's always like, said, if London has something, I think we should have it. And if, San Francisco has something, we should have it. That is his thinking. So I just want Raj to kind of tell us, about best practices that he's learned and which he's going to probably bring closer home. So in various areas.
I would suggest, this is public knowledge. Yesterday, there was a mayor's announcement budget. Just go through that. I don't have to say anything anymore.
Okay.
Earlier, we NGO people used to say this is coming, that is coming, London is coming, Paris is coming. Just go through the mayor's announcement. You will see that all the things that were theoretical 15 years ago are actually announcements with money behind it.
Okay.
So, simple example, multimodal integration, right? Sponge parks. See, for example, all this won't work without the electronic layers, right? So we are talking about a digital observatory, a digital twinning of the city as a pilot, asset management, ERP systems, etc. Because without that IT backbone, this won't work. And I can go on and on and on, right? Just go through the cycle track, for example. I mean, ITDP has talked about cycle track forever, right? So imagine a cycle track not in the middle of the road. People say, oh my God, cycle track in the middle of the road, people are going to get killed. Think of the beach that's 40 kilometers, right? You have Buckingham kilometers, which is 40 kilometers. You have Coom, which is 20, 30, 40 kilometers. You have Adyar River thing. You can pretty much go to any part of the city in a cycle or walking just by following this place. You don't have to go into the middle of the Mount Road and cycle around and all that. What if we were to what if we had solar roof covering that so that, the heat, it's very hot kind of city, so you're not expecting people to ride in a hot sun. So I'm not even fantasizing the way we used to 20 years ago, adu varapodhu, idu varapodhu and all that. Simply go to Villivakam tank. What used to be a complete sewage dump, you go there today, go and see, and not only is the 25 acres, right? Yeah, acres of water body absolutely pristine, there's a mini Disneyland coming around it. There's going to be gaming and all kinds of things for the neighborhood. So imagine all you have to do is replicate what was happening in Villivakam Tang into Ambattur Lake, Madhavaram Lake, etc., etc. That's it. Velacheri Lake, I've been eyeing it as if it's my property or something. All you have to do is put a plaza around it, fix the lake. That will be one of the greatest places on earth. So I'm not saying we have to go to moon, Apollo 13, Apollo 11, Manhattan Project or anything like that. Just replicating what we have already done will transform Chennai forever, right? So I would suggest, should read the mayor's announcement, and unofficially, 10 times that is already in the pipeline coming, right? So mayor's announcement is just for 1 year. I'm sure if you multiply this by 5 to 10 years, city will be a very different place.
Oh, on the topic of the budget and all that, and there is one announcement I'm sure that would warm Arun's heart. So, apparently they're going to use drones to monitor lakes and all that. That is one thing. I don't know what you have to say about it later. I'll come to you, and you can talk about that as well. And that is one. And another thing is actually in the budget, maybe this thing, in fact, they've cut the allocation for playgrounds by half, which is a bit disappointing. But they say that they've achieved the goals and all that in this year. But I think, when it comes to playgrounds, I think we should overdo it. We are at one end, we are talking about, just weaning our kids off, the screen and all that. And then I think this is one area I think it's okay to overdo things. And we're fine. Now I'm going to Mohammed. Mohammed, actually, yours is a vast area. And I just want you to talk on the behalf of your CREDAI fraternity about, what can be done. In fact, actually, when we're talking about, a city that works for everyone, essentially we're talking about livability. And I think, you're organically linked to livability. You just create living spaces. So could you take us through, kind of like initiatives and all that, where, the builder sort of looked beyond the gates and, did something not just for, the people who paid for the spaces, but also like the entire community and anything else. And basically your vision for Chennai as a builder.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Super Chennai, for bringing this program to this beautiful city. Thank you very much. Chennai is one of the most livable city in this country, and it houses right from the immigrants from the village to a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. That itself, it speaks about Chennai. When we talk about infrastructure and other things, infrastructure, I would say, in sense of hardware, you are bridges, roads, and other things. But in sense of software, language, infrastructure is inclusivity, right? When people from different walks of life, right, from an immigrant from a village to a CEO of a thing, can live, that itself is the infrastructure of this city, this beautiful city. Now, coming to the real infrastructure, why it is like, how it works. So we all know the connectivity is one thing, sustainability is there, and we have to have the utilities in place, and you have to have, we are all talking about the pedestrian walking and the public spaces, which can accommodate different kind of culture. We can see people from all over the world working here. Now we can see like restaurants from different countries, Korean, Japanese, Mexican, everything is available here. So these are the things we need to focus. Of course, we from CREDAI, we do buildings, and we are also like coordinating with the government to relaxing the norms or to modifying the norms so that we can bring beautiful buildings. So what happens is because of the rules and regulations, we are restricted to do a kind of a box building. There's no space for going high or doing a beautiful building. We don't have that. So we are working on that. And on infrastructure, as I told you, on connectivity, the day we complete our 3 metro lines, which is going to get over by 26 December, you said like you do not know when it is going to get completed. By 26 December, maybe another 6 months, it will be over. It will be the second largest network in India next to Delhi. Delhi is a capital. Okay, so you cannot even include Delhi. And 30% of the population will be using public transportation. So if we really have to have a good transportation, public transportation, they say 60% of the city's population should be using public transportation, it seems. So Chennai is smart, Chennai is super, so we will reach there. Developed city, super Chennai, one day it will become where a poor buying a car, it's not a poor buying a car, rich using a public transportation. Only then Chennai will become super Chennai. And we are nearing that because of this connectivity. And another point is 20 years back when the second master plan was done, or even much before that, the lawmakers and the bureaucrats felt that city should spread outside because they thought the roads, the infrastructure, the pipelines are not enough to carry more FSA, more tall buildings. That was right for that period, but that's totally wrong for now. Now they have realized that no, we should go for vertical cities, right? Like any other country. So they are all working on it. Now when we go vertical, it can accommodate more people, it can accommodate more offices. When we went to Guidance Bureau of Tamil Nadu, Dr. Darish Ahmed, he is the IAS officer there. So he said, whatever is happening now, the A-grade offices, whatever is under construction, on top of that they need 10 million square feet of office space in 3 years. So that's the kind of capacity we have. All the Fortune 500 companies and multinational companies are putting pressure on government, so because they want to come and occupy here. So if he's talking about 10 million square feet of office space, that means we need 100 million square feet of residential. Because each guy using a 100 square feet of office space needs 1,000 square feet for his residence. So there's so much to come in Tamil Nadu, in Chennai. And I think I have 2 minutes. Yeah. So this is the kind of potential, what we have. And I'm sure, it's a place, it works, Chennai works, it works for everybody, it works for all the culture, and it's a very, 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 very harmonious place to live. And we all know about that, so it's been like in the last session last panel I was hearing that, it was undersold and, we are not marketing properly. So congratulations to Super Chennai, for bringing things out. Only now, we speak about what is Chennai and what are all there, and I've been hearing many good things about it. Of course, we have challenges. Challenges can be overcome. It's not big challenges what we have, and what we have is like the waterways and other things. We all talk about when there is a waterway, then we talk about floods and things like that. Actually, they are all our assets. We have to look that is our assets. The Kuam, the Adayar River and whatever water bodies we have, they are all our assets. So we have to slowly, we are coming out of, the challenges of the priority spending is getting over. So once that is over, now the other spending from the government will be to improve all those things. We'll be there for sure. Thank you.
Great. So the one question I have for you, actually, is there a trend, probably like not now, maybe in the future, do you see a trend of builders going for a combo of living spaces plus workspaces within the same area? But that actually will solve a lot of problems. So, kind of people now, many companies are open to the idea of hiring, kind of beyond geography.
Yeah.
They just, give this remote option and all that. And so anybody who has that option would probably just buy, a flat or so in such a property. Is there a trend of that happening?
Actually, that's a good idea, fantastic idea. But here we have the scarcity of land. Lands are not
so you
available.
Need to give credit for that.
Pardon me?
You need to credit me for it.
Of course. You have to give credit. And you can see like a few developments are like that. For example, Brigades, the WTC has got their office spaces, and close by they have residences. And in a newly developing cities, probably what you say is work, because this all developed city. So slowly things are transforming, and of course we have our network coming up, so that will solve to a certain extent.
Great. Nice, sir. Thank you. Now, Arun, actually, see, if I were to try and pretend that I don't know Arun, I'm not going to pull it off. So, I just call him regularly. So, because my stomping ground is somewhere in the outskirts of Chennai and all that, I just keep driving around and all that. And so, I just stop by some lake and all that. I have a problem, I immediately call him. And our man has all the details, on his fingertips. So, in fact, he's covered so many lakes. Right now, he's doing a lot of work in the Chengalpattu area, which also will come under the Chennai metropolitan area. And within Chennai also, he's done a lot of work. And in fact, we've seen him grow. We in the media and all that, he's, all of us like him so much and all that for his humility. So we call him a Thambi. I call him Thambi. That is the affection we have for Arun. And another thing is Arun, actually, I have had this conversation with Arun many a time. It's about, smart restoration, one, and overdoing things. And, being over smart in your restoration. I just wanted to talk about that.
Vanakkam, thanks for the invitation. Actually, one thing which fascinates all of us about Chennai is definitely the architecture, the food, the people, and how the city is grown as an economic powerhouse. But some things which are often forgotten is the natural heritage that Chennai holds. There's a movie which Manjula Vijay Kumar would act in. It's called Pookari. Later end of session. நான் ஏன் சொல்கிறேன் இந்த படம்னு, நீங்கள் இந்த செஷன் முடிஞ்சதுக்கப்புறமா if you play on YouTube, you'll actually watch a song where Manjula Vijay Kumar Pookari songnu போட்டு பாருங்க. It's, I think, the title song. They'll show the Napier Bridge and the Kuvam River in that song, and I was stunned by how the Napier Bridge and the Kuvam River and the promenade around it was. And we actually had all of it. There would be proper paved footpath and everything, and there's water body. People would be boating in that Kuvam River, and then there would be a fountain spewing water up in the air, and then clean blue sky and more. Then during one film appreciation session, there was about Bhakta Meera. இவங்க எம்எஸ் சுப்புலக்ஷ்மி ஒரு பென்ட் கோகனட் ட்ரீ மேலே சாஞ்சிக்கிட்டு பாட்டு பாடிட்டு இருப்பாங்க. அண்ட் அதை பார்த்துட்டு இது எங்கே இருக்குன்னு somebody asked. Then they went back to the archives, found out it's Harrington Road and the Spur Tank Road. கூவம் ரிவரில் இந்த கோகனட், there used to be coconut groves. 3 rivers, Kosasthalayar, Kuvam, Adayar, thousands of water bodies, a large beautiful marsh from Nandanam to Virugambakam to Buckingham to multiple canal systems. We are technically the water capital of India. No, kai tattadinga. Being the water capital of India, what is our water knowledge? That is a big ask. Any lake restoration, pond restoration, enna kettingna, I am not about pouring concrete, adalla enakku oru lake pond panai maram, which is palm tree, which is our state tree. Yeah, it's a beautiful natural indicator, ranging from butterfly, dragonfly, barn owl, garden lizard, to a pond turtle, freshwater aquatic turtle, to fish, crab, snake. So many lives depend on that water body. Yes, and there's always silt, clay, sand. நீங்கள் மண் வரைக்கும் போயிட்டீங்கன்னா தண்ணி will go down. clay இருக்கிற வரைக்கும் தான் தண்ணி நிற்கும். அண்ட் நம்ம சிஸ்டமே என்னன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, we're a sea-bound city. It rains in the western edges. Water flows towards the deepest point, which is the ocean. So our forefathers, foremothers had this brilliant thought, making sea cusp embankments. சமதரையில் கரை கட்டி பின்னிருந்து வர தண்ணி ஏறி நின்று அதை ஏரி குளம் குட்டைன்னு டிஃப்ரெண்ட் கிளாசிஃபிகேஷன். வாட் ஃபினாமினல் வாட்டர் நாலேஜ் தே ஹேட். அண்ட் ஒரு லெவல் மட்டும்தான் தண்ணி நிற்க விடுவாங்க, ஏன்னா ஃபோர் ஷோரில் தண்ணி ஏறிடுச்சுன்னா ஃப்ளட்டிங் ஆகிடும். ஸோ ஒரு லெவலுக்கு தண்ணி ஏறினதுக்கப்புறம் அங்கேருந்து வாய்க்கால் வெட்டி அடுத்த ஏரிக்கு கொண்டு போய், அடுத்த குளத்துக்கு கொண்டு போய், மார்ச்சுக்கு கொண்டு வந்து, கடலில் கொண்டு போய், தேவையில்லாத எவ்வளோ சேவ் பண்ண முடிஞ்சதோ அதுக்கப்புறம் கொண்டு போய் கடலில் சேர்த்தாங்க. This knowledge we already have, we had, we forgot. And this is where this question of overdoing it, Ilya. And as a growing city, we definitely want waterfront where there could be beautiful system, and there definitely has to be I love Anna Nagar, I love Marina, I love that, I love this, because we love everything and we want to take photos. But what does this I love, but has anybody ever asked, ஒரு ஏரியில் போய் மொண்டு தண்ணி குடிக்க முடியுதா? ஏரி லேக் பாண்ட் ரெஸ்டரேஷன் எதுக்கு இருக்கணும்? அந்த தண்ணி மொண்டு குடிக்கிற மாதிரி இருக்கணும். But that nobody asks us. Everybody is like, okay, go deep, go deep, go deep. How deep? Why should we go 10 feet, 20 feet deep? There are structures all around. இங்கே நான் பாட்ட பள்ளம் போட்டுக்கிட்டே இருந்தேன்னா சுற்றி இருக்கிற ஸ்ட்ரக்சரல் இன்டெகிரிட்டி என்ன? These are questions to be asked. இவங்க சொன்னாங்க இல்லையா நிறைய water bodies. See, we still love dumping garbage. Especially a water body which nobody is watching is the easiest immediate victim. வேலி போட்டு வச்சிருப்போம், வேலியை உடச்சு கொண்டு போய் உள்ள குப்பை கொட்டுவாங்க. எஸ், இது ஏங்கிறது இஸ் அ ஹியூஜ் ஆங்கர். அண்ட் ஓவர் டூயிங் ரெஸ்டோரேஷன் வரும்போது ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் வாட்டர் பாடிக்கு இவ்வளோ தான் கெப்பாசிட்டி, அதை சுற்றி பனைமரம் இருக்கணும், அதை சுற்றி பூச்செடி இருக்கணும், நேச்சுரலாக என்ன வருமோ அது இருக்கணும். எங்கே ஒரு இடத்துல புல்லு பூண்டு பார்த்தாலும், if anybody sees any vegetation, the first thing they tell me is clear this off. Clearing it off is not going to serve any purpose. You don't need to, in a hot city like Chennai, you don't have to keep pouring concrete everywhere. Expose the water body to more concrete, which increases the rate of evaporation. Actually leave it to the earth. Let the earth breathe the oxygen. Let the vegetation grow. The vegetation will dry out. There are colors of nature which is green, blue, brown. Get to see everything doesn't have to be gray. And there are at least 113 different kinds of birds you can spot. That is why we keep painting these birds on the walls wherever you go. And that is why people come and urinate on those birds every time we paint these walls. So restoration cannot be aesthetic development alone. Of course, yes, Villivakam tank, Chetpat tank, Chitlapakam, one-off cases, public spaces, 100% yes. But எல்லா water bodyயுமே நான் வந்து இப்படி தான் பண்ணுவேன்னா குடிக்க தண்ணிக்கு என்ன பண்ண போகிறோம், flood mitigation என்ன போகிறோம், ecosystem economics. I will leave you with that. Without natural resources, the cost that we are going to pay for industries to come, for human resource to survive and sustain is going to be very tough. Sustainable development is the plan that Chennai is making for the rest of the country to follow, is my submission.
So there is this one thing, kind of like when you're talking about developing streets, so there is something called primary objective, which is to make the street wide enough and all that, easy for people to walk and easy to motor and all that without any obstacles. That is the primary objective. But sometimes actually the point is, for that to happen, sometimes the secondary objectives will have to be met. You will have to kind of instill in people a pride, about that street. So I just want Ashwati to talk about that, because when I'm talking about secondary objectives, I have in mind, even culture is, I think, part of the street scape. Recently, this, I don't know, it's not a big hit, but they're trying that Thiruvanmiyur Madas, they tried and all that, with some success. So for a while, yes, they were able to just get the vendors to fall in line and all that, just stay behind the line and stuff like that. But then it's not entirely successful, but they're trying. I'm saying you can talk about your experience about the importance of secondary objectives.
So I think, Prince, one, as the government, it is, the government might go ahead and do some infrastructure development. Where there are, with the street, there are a lot of objectives right now. When you look at a street, it's often considered to be just a conduit for vehicles to move from one spot to the other. But even the whole point of people like children or elderly or anyone walking on the street or cycling, that itself at this point is like a secondary objective, which we're trying to make the primary objective. So ensuring that the street then opens up to make sure that there's space for people to walk, cycle, for the public transport to be seamlessly integrated. All of that is
just may add, even to hang out. So all this Tamil Padam and all that will have this scene of, youngsters hanging out and all that near a coffee shop. It's perfectly all right. I mean, it's part of the social capital, I think.
Completely. I'd been to Oslo and I was alone and feeling a bit off, like away from family. And there were these people dancing on the street, like just some, like couples. It just, maybe they were feeling warm, but it also gave me a feeling of warmth. And that's the whole point. Like, we should be able to use our streets in the ways that we want to use them. Another secondary component that we often talk about is for people to be able to walk in our Chennai's climate. It is so hot. Trees are such an important component. When we go to Singapore, they look at streets as being the forests. And that is, like, we have 30% of our streets as public spaces. If we can really convert them into the forests of Chennai, that would be a massive transformation itself. Now, after all of this, to your question about the the piece of even public. I think whether it is streets or our public transportation, we really need all of us as citizens to embrace it as well. I'm sorry to bring the same example, but then there are many streets that get transformed in Chennai, but many of them lack maintenance. Of course, we might point fingers at the government saying that why are you not maintaining, but we can always take up some ownership of maintaining the space right outside our street. And this is where, we've seen at Haddington Road where the association comes together to, maintain the street, make sure that there are no extra vendors, because sometimes, the streets are redeveloped, we have wide sidewalks, and then, vending, there are people who need to make a living there, and sometimes there are a whole lot of vendors that come out. Wherein sometimes we have leadership telling us maybe we should remove footpaths because we don't want to deal with the vendors. So it's a bit of a, but at the same time, if the residential neighborhood could say, okay, there were 3 vendors here, and we would make sure that those vendors continue because that is their livelihood, but make sure that nobody else sort of comes up there so that space is available for that old lady to walk or for that young child to cross the street, etc. That kind of ownership needs to come in from the cities and citizens. And this is where I'd also like to highlight, Times of India and the Hindu. In the past, there would be these Happy Streets initiatives, the Car-Free Sundays, where it was about neighborhoods coming together and really sort of leveraging that particular space that they have. Right now, the public transport system, MTC, is also hosting this campaign called the Bus First campaign. Yeah. So they're like, we've come out with new buses. But these buses are always stuck in traffic. Now, ideally for the bus to move fast, most developing and most developed cities have bus lanes. Today, we are not in a place to implement a bus lane because most of us would say that, we're all getting stuck in traffic, the bus has this lane, we'll be poking fingers. So at that point, the city thought about why not say a bus first campaign where each of us, like the way we give space for a ambulance, why can't we give space for a bus which takes 60, 70 people who cannot afford sometimes better as well? So why can't we be a bit generous, not necessarily selfish, but a bit selfless? So I completely believe that for this transformation that that Raj is talking about, that, there's a lot that the city is doing, we're accelerating, but there's a role that all of us need to, and this maybe ties up to the last panel where it's that whole point of pride. And yes, today we don't have enough to say that, Chennai is Singapore or Chennai is London. Maybe it is going to take us some time, but we will need to, with all the small bits that we have, be proud about it, protect it, and help it grow. Along with that, I'd also like to say is that transformation doesn't, it doesn't change overnight. From a street, like like if I just want to give Pondi Bazaar as an example, when that street was transformed, initially, there were a lot of parking on the footpaths. There was a lot of two-wheelers parked on these wide footpaths. And we would have people on social media saying, this city doesn't deserve this. That's not true. Yeah. The city deserves it. We just need to make sure that you need to enforce that. So I always believe that when you change something, even within ourselves, from your comfortable self, when you grow into a new norm, there is a transition phase which will be uncomfortable. We need to go through that uncomfortable transition phase.
They are saying the same thing about K&K now.
Exactly.
In fact, I saw Sridhar Pillai's video and all that, where he's talking about, I wish, there weren't, bikes being parked and all that. I think the people there on the road, the vendors or whatever, here, okay, not vendors, like here, like lifestyle high, big time shops. Anyway, they can probably take ownership of it, ensure that doesn't happen. So I think there has to be participation.
Yeah, there has to be public participation.
I just, since time is of the essence, I've been wondering how can Super Chennai contribute? So a lot of infrastructure is coming. It's coming, whether we like it or not. A lot of it is coming, good, bad, ugly, whatever. But Chennai, I think, where Super Chennai like organizations can make a huge difference. Like Ashwati said, we used to have a Car-Free Sunday. One of the most popular thing was the Times of India's Happy Street, right? As we speak, there are 12 locations where on the streets of Chennai including in Pondi Bazaar, Ananagar Park and all, hugely popular music programs. Okay, amateurs come and sing on the road and people are just hanging around and all that. Look at the popularity of Victoria Public Hall. It's huge hit, okay, because public want to come and dance there, do this, do that. So my request to Super Chennai is that as the infrastructure comes, and for example, our commissioner is passionate about Blue Flag and the folk music that's happening in, it's a huge hit. I can't believe how popular that, Marinal Margari, this thing. Why can't Super Chennai, one other thing could be to, you have the power to organize, right? Somebody may be interested in music. So I was asking on the streets of Chennai people, how can Chennai become the street music capital of the world? Paris is supposed to be #1. We do one more, we become the capital of the world, right? So they are actually working on it. 200 locations, 6,000 shows a year, will be #1 in the world, right? Street art. In fact, Mr. Challa and others funded some of the earliest street art with Goethe Institute. If you Google street art, Kannagi Nagar will pop up, right? It used to be one of the very slum area. They used to keep saying slum area, slum area. Building size paintings by Indian and foreign artists came and did that, right? Today we take it for granted how many different places in Chennai there is actual street art. There's serious street art. We are not talking about some kid drawing or something like that. Serious art. So what I'm requesting Super Chennai is that you can do verticals. You can see, for example, your city is floating in CSR funds. You have to do it by law, right? Whether you like it or not. You have marketing funds. You have whatever funds, right? Imagine 1,000 crore is no big deal for a Super Chennai in CSR. You can take up water bodies. You can take up parks. You can take up this, that. The problem is like a stock market problem. I have money. I don't know who to give it to. You want money. You don't know who to ask to. So we actually, a few years ago, we actually raised 40 odd crores very easily, including CREDAI money, to restore water bodies, etc., etc. Can you take up that as a formal process, right? It's a painful process, not an easy process. Set a goal of 1,000 crores. As plazas and this and that comes, why not sponsor music? Why not, because I'm not saying do charity. I'm saying you have to do CSR. You have to do ads. You have to do campaigns. I mean, it's part of your this thing, right? So corporation can give you branding ability. Some people can sponsor on the streets of Chennai. Some people can sponsor water body registration. Some people can do car-free Sundays. That is the only way to scale. So for example, I think in the current budget, they have announced a culture department, if I remember right? Why not Super Chennai help culture department of the Chennai Corporation, just the way you would help the stormwater drain department to fix water body. This is the only way to scale what we are doing, and then you can bring in the branding element, etc. One more request from Super Chennai is that everybody wants to see Victoria Public Hall, right? Everybody's saying, look at how Britishers left us this. By the way, Indian contractor did that happen. One Mudaliar did the work. Before WhatsApp, before project management. Show me one modern building in Chennai there where we can say, wow, this is Tamil Nadu architecture, Dravidian architecture. I can't think of one. So why can't CREDAI, which is such a powerful builder organization, set standard for what look and feel of Chennai should be? The shop fronts, the building fronts. Show me one. Bangalore has beautiful buildings, by the way. Fantastic looking, modern, old, whatever. I can't think of one building in Chennai. I'm sorry to say this. I'm sitting in the middle of CREDAI saying this. I can't think of one building that I can say, you know what, that's amazing. That looks fantastic. You know, we're proud of it. CREDAI can, it maybe costs more money, I suppose. I don't know. But why not have a challenge that says, what is Dravidian architecture? What is South Indian architecture? What is the modern interpretation of, our ancient heritage and whatnot? You can do it, which CMDA cannot, which corporation cannot. So I would suggest, this is a fantastic organization with amazing potential. I hope we all can work together towards it.
Yeah, that's typical Raj. So seeking the best for Chennai and all that, and just wanting Chennai in the same fray as the best cities in the world. I think we need to think international. Chennai, deserves that, and that's a great advice. Suggestion. Sorry, not advice. Suggestion to Super Chennai. I just hope they take it up, and even Super Chennai will be known beyond Chennai. So that will be great branding for you also. Yeah. Sorry. Super Chrome, Tamram. So I think actually we can have 2 more questions, right? Is that fine? Just 2 questions, sir. I'll go to Mohammed. Actually, So generally, Tamil Nadu is very welcoming of people from outside.
Yeah.
As a culture, as a tradition. That's why we are Chennai and all that. And Chennai now, because of its development and all that, so many migrant workers are coming in. And in fact, actually, I mean, builders interact with them, lot more than anybody else does. They mostly in the construction industry and all that. So anything that, your builders, and as a policy, like CREDAI does, something for these people who come here, anything special that, that you can.
Thank you
Since
for
we are
the
talking
question.
a city that works for everyone, we are talking about them as well. So.
Thank you for asking the question, actually. Because one of CREDAI National's main agenda is skill development. So under skill development, a lot of our developers are committed to, give them training to all the generally the workers, most of them are immigrants now that you can see. So on all fronts of construction, like whether it is bar bending or masonry, carpentry, electrician, plumbing. So we take batches in 20 persons and then we train them. See, they all come with, see that is one thing we are lagging actually, skilled labor. Now, so we are skilling them. So that is one thing. So, and also CREDAI gives them a certificate. So they can go and work wherever they want, and they can demand for 100 rupees extra also per day, like, because they are being trained. So that we are doing, number one. And number two is, this year we started a medical program along with Satya Sai Foundation, thanks to them. It is kind of a cancer awareness program. So for thousands of laborers, already we have screened them. And to identify whether they have this particular disease or not. And surprisingly, there's a lot of more people have got because of
the material,
the
right?
usage of what
material
they use. Yes.
What they use.
So the second stage is like we have to send them to the second screening or for treatment and things like that. So that also we are doing. And third, I can say like our people are learning Hindi through them, and they are learning Tamil from us.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's why I said like
I think you
Chennai
should
can
switch to
accept.
Hindi now. So probably or anyway, just kidding. Good.
Yeah. So Chennai is a place where we can accept people from all walks of life. So these are the things we do for migrant laborers. They are very safe here. They get everything here. And of late, we are talking about giving them good accommodation, decent accommodation. In my site, if I see like if you see like we give like very high ceiling sheds because to
so the
cut
heat
the heat, and also we give ventilation on the top line so that there's air circulation. Very pathetic, because even to live there also it's very difficult, and we give them proper interlocking block flooring or so that it's kind of hygiene. So that way, yes. And another point is now government insists on PF, perfect registration of PF and other things. So I've been asking our developers to register themselves properly. We have challenges because people, when they come, they don't have Aadhaar card, they don't have certain things, but still, slowly, they are also getting it.
So does CREDAI have the teeth to kind of put any developer who doesn't follow this on the mat? Supposing, they don't follow these...
Yeah, of course, we have committees.
Okay.
In CREDAI, we have different committees. Sustainable committee is led by Mr. Sajid. And we have skill development committee by Dr. Arul. He is not here for some reason. Like that, for everything we have committees, we have people to work. Yes.
Nice. Great. Okay, we'll just finish this session with Thambi. The last question, I think. There's one concept very close to Arun's heart. I know that during conversations I've had that. And I'll just combine two questions and just try to answer it as quickly as possible. One is water neutrality. He keeps saying like water you take out should go back. So that's one thing he talks about. That's very important, considering like how we struggle every few years. We have water scarcity is staring us in the face. So that is one. And then another thing is actually the right of locals to a lake. They do have a right. Like you take particularly in the outskirts and all that, you take lakes and all that. Many of those people would have just grown up by the side of the lake. That's part of their everyday life and all that. Like I was talking to him about this particular place in Ponmar and all that, where they use the palm fronds, to create that whatever, that floaters, for this fire walking exercise. They just walk on the fire coal, and then just to cool, they'll just go and put their feet complete on this. So that they take from, sorry, that they take from the lake, the palm trees there and all front. Other one, it's fine. But sometimes what happens is actually they just also burn next to the lake, which in fact is happening there, that particular lake. So how do you ensure that the locals, enjoy the lake without, kind of disturbing it? How do you do it? What are the processes you put in place? And another thing I need to say that, any relationship, kind of works if you manage the boring stuff, not the heady stuff, and this one does. EFI, what they do is actually like they are in for a long haul. Even after the registration is over, they take care of the lake. They go back and they do have a long innings. I've noticed it in a few. So I want you to talk about that as well. Right?
Water neutrality is crucial simply because avanga Velacheri lake patti sonnanga illaya. So take many water bodies. See the number of days where temperature is beyond 35 degrees Celsius plus in Chennai. Watch for this summer especially as to how many days Chennai is recording 35 degrees Celsius plus, 38 plus, 40 plus. There used to be times when global warming, climate change is a given and things have changed. The number of heat exposure days beyond certain points is there. Heat island impact, because we are a developing city with roadways, with buildings and much, much more. Land exposition is very limited now with so much construction around. Ippudi irukkumbodhu what happens is rate of evaporation in water bodies is also high. How are some of the lakes still full even during peak summer and how most of the other lakes are dry? Simple logic being the lakes that you see with water even end of May, early June are the ones which are filled with sewage. Sewage is being pumped, steadily let to flow into these lakes. And when you have lakes filled with sewage before monsoons, what happens is when the rainwater comes, it has no place to go, right? Fresh water is still contaminated. Fresh water is having a free flow elsewhere. And then the lakes are only holding sewage all through the year. In this case, your groundwater's quality is also negatively impacted. And when your groundwater quality is impacted, it leads to multiple other factors with regards to health, vegetation and much, much more. Water neutrality, again, which is very, very difficult in the current context, but which is where we should go as a smart city. How much water are we using? 2018-17, almost doomsday, Chennai is 0 day, no water, blah, blah, blah. The amount of water that was supplied was much less compared to the amount of water that was coming out as sewage, which simply meant Chennai didn't reduce the amount of water it was using despite having no water. I earned 10 rupees, but I was spending 100 rupees. How? Because I was just getting water from elsewhere. This is where water neutrality is crucial again for us to survive, sustain as a city which has so many business interests. And this has to be, again, can be beautifully done in quadrants, in certain pockets. In the area, waste management, waste neutrality, water neutrality in Pesambodhu. This is the amount of water that is rationed. This is the amount of water you use. This is how you recycle it. This is how you're going to reuse it, repurpose it. And this is the only thing that you can send out. And this is how much you have to recharge. This is where the smart behavior of Chennai and Chennai citizens has to go in the coming years, and we are all going to work towards that. That is neutrality. Second, there are, unless and until you have a buy-in with that water body, which cannot just be fitness related, walking, jogging, 100% yes, but beyond that, let me remind you, we are the state that celebrates Aadi Perukku. ஆடி பெருக்குனா என்ன 18வது நாள் ஆடி மாதம் ஆடி காற்றுக்கு என்ன நடக்கும் அம்மி கல்லும் பறக்கும் ஐப்பசிக்கு என்ன நடக்கும் அடமழை பெய்யும் ஸோ தமிழ் மாதங்கள்லேயே உங்களுக்கு வந்து ஒன்னொன்றுத்துக்கும் தே டாட் அஸ் கிராமங்களுக்கு போய் கேட்டு பாருங்களேன் இந்த இடம் எங்கே இருக்குன்னா தே won't tell you turn left turn right they would always tell you வடக்க போங்க தெற்க போங்க கல்லை பார்த்து போங்க பனைமரத்தை பார்த்து போங்க this level of situational learning is crucial. That is when we'll be able to protect these water bodies and cultural practices in and around the water body. 100% yes, people throw flowers, they throw plastic, they throw everything into the water body. But that is where one generation, again, please pardon me, don't mind me saying this, one generation has to pass on. The next generation has to be rightfully taught not to be desktop conservationists, but field-based people who understand all of this, take lessons from the past, look at the present day problems and aim for the future. That is when we'll be a super Chennai.
So, so this has been an amazing experience for me. Like, as a journalist, generally we tend to become very cynical because we've seen a lot and all that and a lot of failures, stillborn initiatives and all that. But then I should say these people here, kind of they're extremely passionate. In fact, when I just came to know of the list and all that, I was really very happy because I have, kind of seen their work. either directly or indirectly and all that, and they are sort of heavyweights in what they do and very passionate about what they do, which is why I initially I said I'm a bit worried about the time, because they have a lot to say, all of them. They've done so much and all that, and it was nice actually. In fact, they managed to kind of like telescope all these learnings into this short. Thank you so much. I hope you also enjoyed the way I did. Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Entire panel, I'd like to request Mr. Prakash Challa, the Vice President of CREDAI National, to please join us on stage, do the honors and present mementos to all of our panelists and to our moderator. Starting off with Mr. Raj Cherubal. Mr. Mohammed Ali, President of CREDAI Chennai. Ms. Ashwati Dilip, Managing Director of ITDP India. Mr. Arun Krishnamurthy, Environmentalist Foundation of India. Moderator, Mr. Prince Frederick, Civic Affairs Editor, Associate Editor, The Hindu.